It's Wednesday, the 31st of January 2017, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. So 31 is a 4, and 4 is an earth number, and it is about integrity. It's about integrity. It's about staying in integrity with ourselves and staying in integrity with other people. 4 is it's a square, and so it's about boundaries. It's an earth number, but 4 gives us the ability to break the boundaries that bind us, to look beyond the boundaries, to see the big picture. So 4 is the number associated with being a visionary, and if we can tap into that today, then those goals that we set yesterday in that 3-day, we can get the big picture view of that, and then we can decide, is this really in integrity with who I want to be? Now that is sounds lovely in theory. It's quite difficult in practice, because what if you've set this goal and you've had the strategy and you've done all this work? I've done this, I can't tell you how many times, but hours and hours and hours of effort into something, and then finally when you get to see the big picture, you realize, that's not really what I thought it was going to be, or that's not really in integrity with who I am, or maybe it was my anxiety that was driving me, or maybe I thought I could make a quick buck out of that, or maybe I thought I needed to do that so that that education wasn't wasted. You can hear those are all my reasons. Or maybe I'm just plain straightforwardly terrified. A 4 helps us to identify which one of those it actually is. So if it's just that I'm scared or that I don't want to fail, well, I've done that before and I've felt that before. So I can go, okay, well, maybe this goal actually then is in integrity with me. But if I'm doing it for the wrong reasons, and you know what, no matter what you say, you know, right? You know. And 4, when you're in a 4-day, you really know. So don't squander that opportunity today. Safety energy lock number 4 is the window. It's the window through which the energy comes in from the universe, and that measuring intelligence measures out to every single organ function energy exactly what it needs. So when we connect to the energy of the 4, we can see the big picture, and we can see the tapestry, and so then we can clearly see the part that our thread is playing in that tapestry, and we can decide whether we want to change that or not. 4 is an earth number, so it's quite rational, and it's quite logical, and it's quite practical. The more we are in integrity with ourselves, the more our natural leader emerges, and that's of course the energy of the 1. And today is the last day of January, so it's the last day that we tap into that 1 energy in this position for such a long time. And so when we are in authenticity, when we are in integrity, that was terrible English, when we are authentic and we are in integrity with ourselves, such big words, then we are able to allow our natural leader to emerge, and then we can truly tap into our creative and inspiring energy. So yeah, make use of that. If you are like me and you found that, I don't know, for me January it hasn't been bad, but it's felt like, I don't know, I've been launched in a rocket to, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just hanging on for dear life and assuming that it's all going to be okay, but it is fast. Things are moving really, really quickly, and I do believe that that's part of this 1 energy of January, which is hopefully going to stabilize a little bit when we get to the 2 energy of February. So we've of course got the 2 of 2018, so we've got an earth number, the 4, we've got an air number, the 1, and we've got a water number, the 2, and so we do have quite a lot of balance in the root of the life map today. The 2 of course helps us to connect with our emotions, it helps to stabilize our emotions, it helps us to connect with that nurturing aspect of ourselves so that we can nurture ourselves and others. The hero of today is the 7. Now, when we have the 7 in the hero position, 7 is the independent thinker. 7 is the one that is naturally attuned to the greater mysteries of life. 7 is the one that takes the road less traveled, not really interested in being part of the herd, wants to do what they want to do. So the more you are in integrity with yourself and the more authentically you show up, the more likely you are to be able to travel that path that is uniquely yours. And that is a great energy that we can tap into today. The villain of today is the 2. So when we have the 2 in the villain position, then we tend to become numb to our feelings, or we become overwhelmed by our feelings. So we can feel incredibly, we can be totally overwhelmed by our feelings, or we can become blind to them and we can ignore them, and we can go, okay, well, I'm gonna rely on the logic and the analysis, and well, there's a bit of feely stuff in the 2, but I'm going to try and ignore that for the most part. So whenever something happens to you, when you have an event or circumstance in your life, you first have a thought about it. You think about it, something happens, and you have a perception, a thought. Then you have an emotion. Then you have a reaction usually. Most people just have a reaction, not really a response. If you are a bit more aware and you have a bit more self-governance, maybe there's a little bit of a gap between the emotion, and then you can have a response. And then you take an action. So all of those steps have to be there. So if you just want to have the thought or the perception, you want to bypass the emotion, you want to have the reaction, because then usually the reaction is more intense, and then the chances are you're going to take an action that probably is not going to serve you. Has anyone ever acted on, I don't know, pure irrationality and then regretted it later? I mean, hell, who hasn't, right? So it's really important that we consider all parts of that. The perceptions and the thoughts are important. The feelings are just as important. We have to have the head and the heart aligned in order for us to take right action, an action that is aligns our will with divine will or universal law. So do guard against that today. Safety, no, there's no safety interlock number 31, sorry. Safety interlock number 4 is located on the ring finger. So if you hold your ring finger, it helps to harmonize the lung and large intestine organ function energy. It helps you connect to sadness and grief, and it helps you to release and to let go. This time of year, there are many of us who have children who are, well, I happen to be in that age, right? So there's probably lots of you who don't have children who are doing this, but have children who are going off to university or leaving home for the first time. And that is a significant boundary breaker, and that can be a very emotional event. And most of us will tell ourselves to pull ourselves together and put on our big girl brooks, because everyone does this, and kids grow up and you've got to let them go. Well, you know what? You can grieve for the fact that they're not little anymore, and that they don't live in your house anymore, and that you don't have to do whatever it is that you used to do for them anymore. It's going to be different, but it's never going to be the same, and you are entitled to be emotional about the not the sameness. So if you are feeling sad, if you need to release or let anything go, then hang on to that ring finger today. It will definitely harmonize the attitude of sadness and grief and make you feel more connected to your breath. It'll help you to release toxins, and it'll help you navigate your day more smoothly. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.